regards from Ingolstadt. I have heard that you entered the Kamel GT Championship this year in the good old GTO car, so I wish you best of luck and a lot of success.
Best greetings to all drivers from the Audi GTO 90 Championship. Good success.
The incredible action has been unrelenting this season. Each race seems to unfold with wild twists and turns, amazing battles, and crazy finishes. Road Atlanta has a very high standard to live up to. But the championship situation may cause our 2 points leaders to take a calmer approach. Each could wrap it up today with a decent finish. We'll see if things calm down or if it's as frantic as ever as we get ready to watch round 11 of the iRacing Kamel GT series. And you'll see it all live here on the global SimRacing channel. Hi, I'm Joe Peak, and with me in the booth is Adam Lindgren. Behind the scenes is our director, Sean Crackers Ambrose, and he's using cameras provided by Dougie Beard. Road Atlanta is a take-no-prisoners type of track. Many spots around here provide serious danger when a driver fails to respect it. To find out where some of these hidden perils lie, let's head to our track guide. Welcome to Road Atlanta, the scene of incredible sports car racing for decades and the home to the Petit Le Mans. This is a track that has proven itself to be worthy of attention on a world stage. With it being situated only an hour northeast of Atlanta, Georgia, the circuit is in a prime location. But despite its flagship race, in contrast to the real Le Mans, the full course is a measly 2.5 miles long. The club layouts also clock in at just under 2 miles. Packed within this small lap length is a series of technical and challenging corners, some of which can be race-ending even when small mistakes are made. Turn 1 is a fast sweeper which compresses the car into the track, but the high speeds mean that when you go off, you typically go off in a big way. Turn 3 is notorious for its curved entry into a blind apex. Too far inside and you face a cut course penalty. Too far outside and you're likely to spin out. Then there's the unassuming Turn 5. The wide curving lures you into getting greedy, but the close walls on either side gobble up cars and spit them out as a crumpled heap. With all the tricky fast turns, that's not to say that there aren't passing opportunities. The main one comes at the chicane at the bottom of the backstretch. The huge downhill drop into the turn makes outbraking yourself quite easy though, so be careful. The whole thing wraps up with the frightening final corner. With nothing but a giant wall right to the outside as cars fly through at high speed, it's not often that wrecks are small. Boasting a wide swath of series over its history, everything from NASCAR to Indy Lights and of course IMSA, the main use of the track is SCCA events and driving schools. No wonder this place is popular both in real life and here on the iRacing service. Fans will no doubt get to enjoy many more years of action at this incredible track. Road Atlanta has been a place where IMSA has raced a lot over the years, and Adam, it's only natural that they come back to this place, but it's certainly going to provide a challenge for these type of cars.
Yeah, will definitely be a challenge for these guys. This place is known most famously for hosting Petit Le Mans, but Road Atlanta may secretly be the most challenging track for Legends cars to drive in America. With many sharp, changing elevation turns and even more frequent blind apexes, this course exhibits some of the most difficult conditions for older cars to master, and it does it all on a very thin track surface. The Nissans will feel the most at home here due to their downforce, but that's not saying much because the high curves that you must ride in order to go quickly as possible makes it challenging to keep the car straight. The Audis will struggle most of the way around the track, with the sweeping corners making it challenging to keep the car underneath them. Multiclass is manageable here, but you cannot attempt a pass in the S's, else you destroy yours and others' races. Immediately following the S's, turn 5 is possibly the most challenging corner on any endurance circuit, with a steep curb on the apex that will throw your car out into the bumpiest of runoffs. The fastest way through the corner, though, is to use that runoff, so expect to see quite a few wrecked cars following the corner during the race. This one should be exciting, Joe, and a little unpredictable.
Yeah, I think unpredictable is pretty much the main word that you hear when you talk about camel races. Now, hopefully it won't be unpredictable for our championship leader. Fabian Gerber, as you can see, has quite a wide margin, and since 25 points are awarded for a victory, he really doesn't have to do much today. Now, this is the penultimate round, so there's all kinds of iterations we could go through. I'm going to make it simple for you. If he finishes 12th or better today, Fabian Gerber wraps up the championship, which considering his results in races past, it'll be highly unlikely that he finishes lower than 12th, but you never know. Mukanos back there, 41 points behind, could have a mathematical shot. Laust Olsen's probably a bigger threat to him. Of course, Olsen dealing with Albrecht, and checking real quick to see if Justin has shown up today, and I do not see him out here. So looks like he will unfortunately not be able to catch Laust at least this time. In fact, Michael Houghton will likely overtake him in the points today with that championship. Let's head over to the GTOs, where it is a little bit closer, but still pretty similar in situation.
Yeah, very similar, but this time Dennis Neidhart does not need 12th. He needs 4th or better today in order to win, and considering the fact that he has not finished worse than, I think, 3rd this season, if he hasn't DNF'd, that's a pretty likely thing to see today. But that being said, Phil Lake still has a mathematical shot at winning, but he needs maximum points this race and then better than 7 points next round, which will be a challenge for him to achieve considering Dennis Neidhart is very strong this season. Juka Lascala is quite a ways back and unable to challenge for that position, but Rob Olnick still mathematically possible for him to pass Juko for 3rd. But once again, Juko needs to finish worse than 4th this race and then have a really bad race next race for Rob to be able to do that. Reed Miller, Mr. Consistency, still in on 5th in the standings today.
Now, for today's race, this is pretty typical in format for this series. We have a 40-minute run here in the penultimate round, and it is open setup on these cars, so the drivers can tweak them to their liking. They don't have a fast repair, though. What that means here in iRacing is a fast repair is essentially a spare car waiting in the pits if you damage yours too much. That does not exist in this series, and of course, if you get damaged, you just have to come in, sit and wait for them to bang away at it. There you saw the penalties that they receive if they go off track too many times. Right now, qualifying is happening, and most everybody in the GTPs have taken laps. In fact, most have already finished their second lap. Watching Alex Millward see how his second one goes, because he's usually quick. And indeed, he fulfills that prophecy. He's up to 4th with that 108.5. Up at the top of the GTOs, it's Ove Trangerade leading.
Yeah, Ove Trangerade leading with Yoni Hagner in that Glacier Racing machine in 2nd place. Rob Olenek currently holding 3rd with Antti Terho coming back late in the season to snatch a 4th place. Phil Lake's at 5th. Dennis Neidhart all the way down to 7th position, starting position. So it looks like some of our series regulars and top runners in the points are struggling a little bit with qualifying today.
And it looks like Dennis Neidhart is under the gun starting in 7th. Apparently not happy with the track limits here because he had an off track on the first one. He's confused though because apparently he crossed the start-finish line a little bit off track, but it only discounted one of the laps, and that was his first one, which I'm guessing was supposed to be his quicker of the two. So that's why we're seeing him a little bit down the order. Manini coming across the line. He sits in 15th, and he also had an off track somewhere, as that second one didn't count.
Yeah, and looks like the last driver is going to be Freakton Kade, and Kade coming across the line shortly. And this is a really difficult track for those GTPs. It's so bumpy, and you have to hit those curbs in order to go fast, but that can really upset the car, so it can be a challenge to drive around here.
Just one car left putting the time in. That is Erwin Woodstra there in the number 21. Everybody else has completed their 2 laps that they get here in qualifying. It's not unlimited. You just get 2 runs around the track. If neither are clean, then you start from the back of your class. First one was not clean for the number 21. This gives us a good chance to really see how the prototypes handle this place. This is going to be one of the slowest corners, kind of the nemesis of this car, Adam.
Nemesis of the car, nemesis of every car that I've ever driven around here is that corner, because the track actually kind of falls away from you as you go around that corner. So if you don't hit your braking exactly right, you're going to fall off the end of that corner and get into the grass on the other side. And it can also slow you down significantly because you need to prepare that corner in order to go very fast on this long straight. So Erwin with a decent looking lap this lap. Let's see whether or not it sticks.
If you want to see how your driver is doing here in qualifying and in the race is... was he trying to abandon the lap, or what was he doing there? Because he almost went into the pits. Hopefully he knows the track a little bit better than that, as that lap did not count for him. But as I was saying, if you want to follow your favorite driver, check out GSRC.TV, where we've got live timing and scoring for all cars on track at all times. Give that a look. Very easy to check it out. Again, that is GSRC.TV. Let's go through our starting grid here today. Tobias Gerber put it up on the pole of all people instead of Fabian. So apparently he's been taking lessons from his brother. Nick Mukanos will be starting next to him. Remember, he needs to both win and see Fabian Gerber finish lower than 12th today, and Fabian's starting 3rd, so he's already done half the battle. Alex Millward will be starting in 4th with Stephen Warkup in the 5th position. James Broadbent is back with us once again. He is starting in 6th with Kitty Ingstrom in 7th. Michael Houghton starts in P8 with Mark Krajcik in the nice spot. Outside of row 5, Hugh Haycox joins us from the Weekend Warriors, it seems. Alexis Tapiavico will be starting in 11th. Heikki Haitonen in the 12th position will be followed by Fabian Jungbluth in P13. Then you've got Roman Pawlowski in 14th and Gabriel Lanini in 15th. The outside of that row has Freakton Kate. Nate Lupson was the last to qualify. He'll be starting 17th. Erwin Woodstra, who followed on his qualifying, did not set a time and will be slated at the back of the GTP field.
Ove Trangered's going to take pole today in the GTOs with Joni Hagner lining up alongside him. Rob Olenek is a strong qualifying for him in 3rd position, with Antti Terho making a return for 4th position. Phil Lake is relegated down to 5th spot right now, with Reed Miller lining up ahead of Dennis Neidhart in 6th and 7th. Jake Johansson's going to start off 8th position with Miguel Castro in 9th. Daniel Sadro's going to start off 10th. Juan Espy is going to start off 11th, and Simone Esses is going to start off 12th. That's 12 GTOs, 30 cars total. This is going to be a tight track, Joe, and they also had a split today.
I was just going to say, 30 cars is a hefty field for a split. So they had a lot of people who love racing at Road Atlanta. Looks like they'll love the weather, at least in terms of temperature. It's grippy with 75 degrees Fahrenheit on the surface, but look at that wind.
Yikes.
And it's changing quite a bit. It was up to 15, now it's down to 12, so it's gusting. That is the worst case scenario in terms of that.
Absolutely, that's the worst case scenario. I'll take a look at where that wind is coming from and whether that's going to affect them down the S's, because if that is going to affect them down the S's, the GTPs are going to have a real difficult time keeping traction underneath them. But looking at the time of day, it is currently 8:32 a.m. virtual standard time, so this track will only get warmer as they continue on, but with the sun angle where it is right now, I don't expect the track to warm up too much.
And now they're coming through that infamous turn 5. That uphill blind left-hander that could cost a lot of time for these prototypes if they come upon traffic, which it is a very short lap around here, just to remind you. The pole sitter with a 1:08.303 for the prototypes. Compare that to the pole for the GTOs at a 1:18.6. Looking at 10 seconds a lap that they are catching up. So around lap 6 or 7, we should see them getting to the back, or at least not even to the back, to the pole of the GTO field here in the prototypes.
Yeah, definitely. That's definitely going to be a thing. And Joe, I just took a look at the direction the wind is coming from. It is a 90-degree crosswind to the S's coming out of the northwest. So that could actually be real trouble for the GTPs as they get, I mean, look at that. They have a flat-sided car. That thing is going to get pushed around a lot. And with the aerodynamic reliance that they have going through the S's, you can expect to see a couple of guys off today.
Hopefully it's not too many, because there's very little runoff there in the S's, and it's ended a number of drivers' races. Down into one of the most popular places to make a pass, Tobias Gerber leads behind the pace car. And then they'll come up and over the hill. The Porsche will release them. Tobias will have control of the fields. Usually a quick green here, and indeed, he is off like a shot as the green flag waves. Good start for him. Fabian Gerber already looking for second place with Mukanos to his outside as they come down to turn 1. We see a lot of trouble into this corner here on the first lap, but it's very single file from much of the field. Looks like it's good. Let's go to the GTOs.
GTOs were very well behaved. Ove Trangarade with a great jump over Joni Hagner. Rob Olenek following in behind with Antti Terho behind him. Pretty much everybody retains their positions except for Reed Miller, who lost a spot to Dennis Neidhart. So Dennis now up to 6th position, ahead of, right behind Phil Lake in 5th. So these Audis doing a great job snaking their way through the S's for the first time.
See, both classes are nice and clean here today. I can tell you that Mukanos took a look on Gerber coming up to turn 6. So he obviously wants this second place back as we now glance once again at the prototypes coming down the backstretch, and he's going to get a nice slipstream. He is gaining, and look at this. He might have a shot. No, he's going to stay patient here and just waits behind him.
Yeah, this is the first lap of many here. We're going to have around 30 for these Audis. And so, look at this. Martin Krajcik possibly getting passed now by Hugh Haycox in the background. But yeah, quite a few drivers really doing a good job here with the GTPs, remaining patient. They know it's a long race.
Do have a prototype in amongst the GTOs. That's Woodstra. I wonder if he started from pit lane here.
He did, yes.
So that is making life a little bit of headache for all of our Audi drivers. But he's just about through there, as you can see. Meanwhile, let's head back up to the lead in our prototypes, because it looks like Tobias Gerber has his brother very close behind him. Got a little bit of a bad exit off at turn 5. He'll come down to the backstretch here, because it already seems like these drivers are getting quite a tow today.
Yeah, the tow is big, but take a look at this. Nick Mukanos is not leaving the Gerbers alone. He is very tight and close behind them. Fabian Gerber, though, got the better exit out of that corner, so this is going to mean that he's going to have a great tow. But once again, he's not quite close enough to make the pass, so he's just going to stay in line. But look at this. Tobias moving over defensively, so Fabian's going to take that opportunity and go around the outside to make the pass work.
Wow. If I didn't know better, I would think that that was maybe some sort of cooperative move. That was very strange. Ooh. And Tobias now under threat from Mukanos. Mukanos is going to look to the inside as behind them. Also Warcup and Millward are fighting. Millward manages to get by. Mukanos not able to overtake Tobias Gerber. He successfully defends. This is backing them up as Alex Millward already onto the back of Mukanos.
And tucked in behind Millward is Jimmy Broadbent. He's a little bit back. He's struggling with a little bit of a loose car right now. It's making it difficult for him to dive into those sharp corners. But look at this. Here we go. Tobias Gerber and Nicholas Mukanos still side by side. Millward tucked in right behind them, and we have a spin behind them. Stephen Workup has gone around. Single car incident, it appears.
Nope.
So
it's Engstrom's. Oh, it's a lot of cars getting into them. They get scattered across the track. Engstrom involved. Looks like you mentioned Warcup and Hugh Haycox also unfortunately getting collected in that. Yeah,
ooh,
this was
that happened.
It unfolded slowly. Warcup started to spin the car on his own, like you were saying, and then Engstrom just couldn't avoid it. I think Houghton also got a piece of it. Yeah, he's in the gray and blue car that you see there.
Yeah, so unfortunately he's gone around quite a bit, and while we've been on this replay, Tobias Gerber has been bleeding positions. He is now down to the 5th spot, getting passed by Jimmy Broadbent. So Tobias Gerber from 2nd to 5th just on that lap while we were watching that replay, and he's definitely down on pace or something. He's having to hold back. Change
for the lead in the GTOs. Ove Trangarade just got by Joni Hagner. I think Hagner's going to try and come back at him. No, he gets chopped off under the bridge. Rob Olenek is behind both these guys, watching intently, seeing if they're going to slow each other enough that he could get involved. looks like Trangorade's got it now. So new leader down in the Audis.
And Dennis Neidhart just passed Phil Lake. That could cement his championship if Phil isn't able to get back by him. So Dennis Neidhart just needs to keep Phil in his rearview mirror as well. But Joni Hagner with an impressive move down into the S-bends there, and look at him just try and snake away. But Rob Olnick is not willing to give up.
And Rob Olnick, as he chases, we look behind them at two championship leaders. Neidhart now in fourth, does indeed give him the championship if he stays here. But we have to remember that if he falls back to fifth, Lake has to win at that point. So he's not in a good position. Meanwhile, the lead looks like it might change hands again. And is this cooperative potentially?
It sure looks like it. I mean, like, Ove Trangerade did not put up any fight there, but this is definitely allowing them to snake away from Rob Olnick behind. Rob is now down to 1.2 seconds behind, and that is just almost out of the draft for the Audis. If they can keep snaking away like this, they'll leave Rob Olnick in the dust.
Don't need to go to it, but a quick note that Roman Pawlowski spun in turn 5, didn't hit anything, and actually everybody managed to miss him as well as they were behind him. But yeah, you're right about them being able to pull away. I think that Ove and Joni know they need to have a 2-car battle instead of a 6-car battle. So I think they're working together to try and get a gap.
Definitely they are, but Rob Olnick is fighting back. He's trying to claw back those tenths and trying to stay in that draft. He's actually clawed 2 tenths away just this lap. Rob Olnick alone with no drafting help is proving to be a fight for these guys just a little bit behind him. And you may think like, oh, well, I mean, these two guys have each other and they're fine, but the draft actually extends quite a far ways behind these Audis, and that's because of how blocky the cars are. They really do punch a hole in the air. But also Rob Olnick now has Dennis Neidhart looking up his back bumper as well. But here we go, back onto the straight. Let's see whether Joni and Ove do the same thing that they did last lap.
It's not looking like it this time. Ove sits patiently behind. There's no pit stops in this race, so there's no reason for him to sit and wait to save any sort of fuel other than maybe just not slowing them up if they go side by side into a corner. So that was curious.
And Ove was able to pull in another 2 tenths just on that back sector, so he's now well within drafting range once again.
Boy, this has been a close fight here up at the top of the GTOs. And I do believe the prototypes are starting to get up to the back of the field in this class. So it won't be long before they start getting held up by those prototypes. Oh, and a very good entry there into turn 5 from Ove Trangerade. Takes it way wide, though.
Oh man, I love this place. I also love the cameras that are provided to us by Dougie Beard. That's a beautiful shot showing the 2 different lines exiting 5. Ove Trangerade taking a lot out of the track to try and get back up there.
Ooh, that exit there. So that gives us a chance to look away, because second place in the prototypes is closed up as Gerber runs away from Mukanos to try and clinch this championship. Alex Millward on the back of that number 16. And how about Jimmy Broadbent? He's been having a good race here today. He's up to 4th and holding his own.
Oh, don't curse it, Joe. Jimmy's had some bad luck in this series, so he's going to be trying to get back up there. But look at this. They're getting held up by Juan Espy, who is up ahead of them in the 10th place in the GTOs. That's what's holding up Nick Mukanos. Nick is now being challenged heavily by Millward, another one of his dirty torque compatriots. Jimmy Broadbent right on the back of them. This could end in disaster if they're not careful. Nick Mukanos moves over to the defensive line. Millward taking as much track as he can. They're going to get held up here by Miguel Castro. There goes Millward, and there goes Broadbent.
Wow, Houghton just caught that at the perfectly wrong time. Castro didn't do anything wrong. He held his racing line and just... Oh, and Houghton's going to spin in front of him. Houghton gets into him as Castro smacks the wall. Or no, that was Mukanos that got into him.
So that's Mukanos' championship chances in the drain. He's got significant damage. He's going to have to park it.
He does. He pulls over to the side of the road and takes a tow. Nick Mukanos, unfortunately, not going to be able to end on a high as his penultimate round. Oh, and that was all his own error. Poor Castro has got to be wondering what just hit him. Wasn't Hello Kitty, it was Hello Houghton for poor Castro. As we come back up to the front, and Jimmy Broadbent now onto the podium is already chasing Millward.
Millward and Jimmy Broadbent have been duking it out this lap, and they continue to do so. Here comes Jimmy around the outside of the corner. Is he going to get held up by these Audis? No, he's not. He's going to make it work around the outside of Ove Traeger and Rob Olenek. Unbelievable moves from Jimmy. Look at that. What an assertive move there.
And that was actually Neidhart that he went around. Neidhart's been overtaken by, or no, he's still working on getting by Olenek, excuse me. He was behind him before.
Wow.
That was a dangerous moment for a championship leader. Remember, he doesn't want DNF. He just needs to finish decently.
Oh,
today.
huge wreck behind them. Tapia Vico in it. Juan Espy in it as well.
Let's see if we can get a replay. The number 11 heavily damaged. We talked about there being very little runoff. This starts with Vico and Miller, and then more come into it.
Yeah, Kraytrig with significant damage as well. Ah,
That was that car that you see get clipped. Yeah, that is Kraytrig. And then the car taking evasive action is Heikki Haitonen, who does a pretty miraculous job of avoiding hitting anything, although he went over the grass in the process.
yeah, and that was just another opportunistic move to try and pass in the S's. And we saw how it's possible to be done, but here we go. Take a look at this. Joni Hagner, Ove Trangrade still inseparable as they go up towards turn 2.
And this time it is Michael Houghton coming up to the GTOs, just behind them. But he's catching them in the S's. Oh, he's going to try and get one. I don't think he's going to get two. This will split them up. That's Houghton there you see on your screen, just in front of Trangrade. He knows the game. He stays patient. Now he's going to get them on the exit of 5. A lot of wheel spin, though, as you saw the tail wagging of Hagner's car.
Yeah, Michael Houghton did a good job of passing where he could and then waiting to pass where he knew he couldn't. And we see a lot of those incidents happen in between the GTPs and the GPOs when someone tries to pass on that second part of the S.
And we've got a spun Nate Lupson, the number 15. I think, yeah, single car incident. He was, well, this is another one that was right by Neidhart. Was trying to get to the inside, forced him off the racing line, and then spun the car next to him.
Yeah,
the racing gods have it out for Dennis today.
They definitely do. Dennis has had to avoid multiple incidents today, and he's just trying to get that spot secured for that championship. We're going to watch on board as Nate Lupson spins up ahead of him.
It spun behind him, actually, but he did force him offline. You could see how wide he was. He just went 3 wide again just now.
Oh, he made
when
contact!
He gets into him. That's Engstrom. Dennis Neidhart makes contact with one of our prototypes. The 24 goes around. This all started in turns 1 and 2 when Engstrom spied an opportunity to get by Lanini. The two of them went on either side of our championship leader.
Okay, so Engstrom ended up backing off a lot more through that corner, and that corner, it's actually a descending corner, so you're descending as you go over the crest of it. Dennis Neidhart probably couldn't lock up the brakes any more than he already did to try and stop there.
I don't know what Dennis did to the racing gods today, but they are just throwing everything at him.
Oh,
As we
jeez.
go down to 4th place.
3 wide.
That's going to be Nate Lupson going through as we got another one. That is Woodstruck.
Oh, no!
They are 3 wide. They're going to come together. And that's Phil Lake getting into him. They collect another prototype. Haitonen gets turned into the gravel. Olenek keeps going. But Phil Lake finds himself falling down the order.
That was way too optimistic of a move from the GTP on the inside. That was never going to work. Everyone meeting into the corner at the same time. And we're seeing the end of the incident there. But, just heartbreaking stuff for Phil Lake. That's his championship done, and he has significant toe damage, Joe.
We're going to watch it here. Well, that makes life a lot easier for Neidhart.
Oh. Yeah, that move was never going to work. Somebody was going to come together there because each of them has to turn into the corner.
You got to feel for Rob, too. He knows he's under attack, and he's trying to do the right thing. But like you said, that prototype just came in and suddenly made it all the worse as we head back to our leader in the prototypes, Joni Hagner, looking for another victory here. See, how many has he had this season? Has he had any this season? I'm looking through the order.
I don't believe he's had a win this season. We have some decent battles going on all over the track, though. 4th place once again between Antti Terho and Rob Olenek. The guys who were left safe from that last incident are still duking it out for this position. Rob Olenek just being able to snake by Antti Terho, but Antti has not left Rob Olenek alone, so expect Antti to come back at him.
So watch from on board. Terho used to be somewhat of a regular in this series, but haven't seen him in a minute. Kind of the same thing with Hagner, because I do not see any results on my scoring sheet from him, so this might be the first race he's even showed up, at least this season, rather.
So Joni showing how strong he is in that Glacier Racing machine. We are very used to seeing Glacier Racing and Dirty Torque battle each other, but this is not a Dirty Torque driver that snaked in behind him. And Dennis Neidhart is still about 3 seconds back in the lead. Alex Millward has gone around, though.
When Millward was having a great race before this, was this a self-spin? Yes, it was.
Yeah, this is at a dangerous spot. This is coming right underneath the bridge, and he was actually, nobody could see him as they came over the crest, so it was thankful that he was in a spot mostly alone on track, but that is a terrifying place to have an accident.
Yeah, you see that caution flag coming over that blind rise, and it's always a little bit hair-raising. Despite the damage, you can see he clipped the wall. It looks like the 6 is able to keep going, and he's fallen to P5. So what does this do for our order in the prototypes? Fabian Gerber still leads. Jimmy Broadbent is in 2nd, and Tobias Gerber is back in 3rd. Now, you said he was falling back before. I wondered if he had some sort of damage on the car, maybe, that he clipped the curb wrong. But if he's still in 3rd, it seems like maybe he's got it under control now.
Well, he's also in 3rd because we've had multiple incidents with Millward and Mechanos and Kraytrig, so
sheer dumb luck.
I think that, well, not just dumb luck, but consistency. He hasn't been pushing the issue in any of these in any of these moments with the GTOs, so he's been able to maintain his position, while others who've taken more risky actions have fallen to the wayside.
Back in 5th, remember I mentioned Millward was there? Well, he's not there anymore. Fabian Jungbluth has gotten by. Millward definitely, we know, damaged, so apparently that's hurting his lap time speed. You can see him, whoa, he is falling back big time from Jungbluth here on the rise up to turn 3.
Yeah, something's damaged in the front left of that machine, it appears, even though he has front right damage as well. I think the suspension or something. Oh no.
Side-by-side battle on screen as this is Terho trying to get by Rob Olenek. Is he also suffering in terms of speed here? Remember, he was involved in that contact with the prototypes down into the chicane. He's fighting back, though. Look at this.
This is amazing battling from these two. Antti Terho trying to make it around the outside. He's actually going to try and give Bravo the line here. He's very confident that he can make it by. These two... We have Rob Olenek and Antti Terho in the Miller machine behind him. Fabian Gerber is going to be the next GTP to pass, and he's currently the leader.
Good plunge down through the hill. This could be a good opportunity. Mistakes easy to make up and over the crest here, and it's a good exit from Terho, but the Finn only able to close up, not able to attack. Here comes Fabian Gerber just behind them. That's our lead prototype. He's got a gap of 5.5 seconds. He does not need to press the issue here. He can wait for this opportunity here on the backstretch.
He does wait, which is a smart move here. He's going to be able to get by them before Terho's going to be able to get a run on Olenek. So Fabian's going to be free and clear, but Terho's going to take this opportunity to take the extra draft from Gerber and try and make the pass.
That's going to help him a lot. He's well and clear by the time they hit the braking zone, but Rob Olenek is very brave on the binders today, almost side-swiping him coming into the first apex. Off the corner, it's a drag race once again, and it's hard to tell who's going to have the advantage as they go through the last corner. Too shallow for Terho, and he loses speed.
And Robbo was wide as well. He clipped the grass. Oh my gosh, these two guys are pushing the envelope for sure.
And the lead is changing hands. The lead is changing hands as Joni Hagner and Ove Trangerade were side by side, just as they're being approached by Roman Pawlowski. Dennis Neidhart as well gains a lot of ground with that battle. Things are really kicking off here, and the GTOs up at the front of this pack.
Roman's going to wait for it here. Ove Trankerade's going to try and make his way by on the backstretch. This could be very close between the two of them. Remember, Ove has some damage on the front left, and he gets a bad exit. This will mean he's compromised on this backstretch.
That'll separate them, at least briefly. Pawlowski finally gets a chance to try and get by. And in fact, they're going to be lapped as well by our GTP leader, Fabian Gerber, coming up on things, sends it in deep. He'll get one, but not two.
And here comes Dennis Neidhart up to the picture. This guy has been challenging for wins all season. He has so many. I think he's got about 5 on this season, possibly more. But Ove Trangerade is now under challenge from Dennis from behind.
Neidhart with 8 victories. And he's looking for number 9 at this point. Ove Trangerade has none. Joni Hagner, as we've mentioned, is just showing up finally, so he's obviously on 0. As we watch on board, looking back over the rear wing of the Norwegian driver.
And here comes Jimmy Broadbent trying to make his way by. Dennis is going to give him the room to be able to do so. Jimmy's going to be able to try and snake his way up the inside. Yes, he is. He makes his way by Rob Olnick. He's not waiting around, Joe.
Yeah, he didn't give much room either. In fact, that denies the apex for Joni Hagner. So he's got the Scandinavian driver now approaching quickly and getting that time back he lost after last turn 7. But he's not going to be able to hold the draft. He's going to start to drop back here.
I think that's the damage on the front left that's affecting his drive on the front left tire. He must be on 3-wheel drive more or less at this point, so that's going to affect his straight line speed. He might be easy pickings for Dennis if he ever gets the draft broken to Joni, but Ove is not done yet. He's not done challenging. If he's slow on the straights, he's strong in the corners.
Update for fans of Alex Millward. He's dropped down to 11th. He had to come in for repairs. The car was too slow, so he's now really suffering today as we watch from Trangerade. That's one of our prototypes going through yet again, this time to Bias Gerber. Both brothers have snuck through, and the top 3 are left to fight amongst themselves once again.
Ove Trangerade takes a deep plunge when he goes on the downhill of the S's, and that allows him to get a lot of time on Joni Hagner, as Joni's a lot more conservative in that spot. But the question is, we're just past halfway to this race somehow. The time has just disappeared, and if Ove Trangerade keeps doing that, is he going to run out of tires by the end of this? Look at it. He takes an early braking point and an early apex as well. That's going to allow Joni to pull away. He might be susceptible to Dennis on this straight, Joe.
He's loving that, because he knows he can get the draft coming through here. But Dennis is another one that we've seen make some contact. We don't know if he's got some sort of damage hurting him. He closes in a little bit. Not enough that he's willing to stick his nose out, though. He stays in line. This group going to be caught up by now Michael Houghton, 4th in the prototypes in a moment or two.
This is such a tight race for the lead. Joni Hagner, you know he's not going to give it up. Ove Trangerade, this is one of the closest positions he's been in to getting a win all season, so he's not going to be easy to pass either. The Anvil has a hard job to be able to pass these two to try and get another win on this season. Here comes Michael Houghton.
Gets 1, but he doesn't quite get 2, and you can see how difficult that corner is with him clattering over the curb. Now he's going to be able to get by Trangerade. I don't think Ove appreciated that one.
Not at all, and that definitely puts him in the jaw of Dennis Neidhart. He's trying to get a good exit out of 5, but slides the rear tires a little bit, so not as much grip. But Joni is actually going to get passed by Michael Houghton before they enter the next couple of corners. That's going to set him up well for the backstretch. I think Ove Trangerade might be in trouble here.
Going to exit they get. Ooh, Trangerade actually looking pretty good off the corner this time. He got that power down well. Neidhart suffering, and doesn't look like he's got an opportunity as they head towards the braking for the chicane.
As they head towards the braking for the chicane, I can't believe it, but This is the first race this season where we've had battles in a lot of places in the GTOs. Fourth place, Antti Terho and Rob Olenek. You know those two guys that were battling? They're not done yet. They're still side by side as they go towards the end of the back straight. These two guys just cannot get away from each other.
And they're giving very little room to each other, just enough, almost touching doors. Olenek comes out ahead yet again, back into fourth place, but the Finn is making him work for it.
He definitely is. Terho's actually been ahead for a couple of laps, so this is Olenek's response, and he's able to make his way back past. So it's awesome seeing all these battles breaking out all over the GTO groups here. The GTPs are pretty well strung out. We do have a battle for 8th position with Nate Lubson, Kitty Engstrom, and Heikki Haitonen.
They're going through a little bit of traffic themselves. Lupson managed to get by Johansson there. Engstrom's still following. Engstrom's looking a little slow through the S's, though.
Well,
He's
Engstrom
lost
has
a lot of time there.
And Engstrom has some significant damage, and so I'm pretty sure that this is Engstrom just getting passed on pace. It looks like he got hit from multiple sides. Remember, he was involved in one of our earlier incidents, so he might be struggling with straight line speed here. He definitely is. He's already about 20 miles per hour down on Lubson ahead.
There was just contact between Trangerade and Neidhart, front to back. He smashed into that car, and I almost wonder if Ove missed a shift or something.
Yes.
Take a look at that. Yeah, this will be coming out of the chicane. You can see they've got traffic, so it could be that he just had his line compromised here.
Let's take a listen, too, to see whether or not he missed the shift like you said.
Yeah, it sounds like it.
Yeah, it sounds like just the Audi gearbox coming back to bite another Audi driver again. But actually, this has actually worked out in Ove Trangerade's favor because Dennis Neidhart has fallen back from him, and Ove Trangerade is actually gaining a little bit on Joni Hagner at this point.
So as they come down the backstretch, this is about as separated as we've seen these top three for a while. If we could take a moment up to fifth in the prototypes. Remember we mentioned Erwin Woodstra starting from pit lane, not having a lap time. He's caught up to Fabian Newbooth. He's in 6th place. Now, you've talked about it before. He's taking advantage of other people having issues. And look at this. He's already hounding him as Newbooth goes defensive briefly. But Erwin, I mean, 6th place. You don't do this by being slow. This is a driver maybe we need to watch out for in the future.
No, and if he makes a clean pass on Fabian Newbooth, then you know he's a driver you have to look out for in the future. Fabian, a series regular, usually very fast. So here comes Stephen Warkup as well, who had trouble earlier. So Stephen Warkup is a lapped GTP who's going to tuck in behind them. So he's not going to, well, I mean, he might be a factor, but he's not going to be a factor for position. This battle between Woodstra and Jungbluth is a battle for position, and this is kind of a proving ground for Woodstra.
It's a good exit. Oh, this is a great exit. He is tucked right underneath that rear wing as they start to pick up speed. 165 miles an hour, 170 miles an hour now. Is he going to poke his nose out? He thinks about it. He now takes a look. He shows himself. Tries to outbrake him down into the chicane, but Fabian, his experience allows him to brake incredibly late. It's going to be a side-by-side battle. He does it the hard way. Around the outside of the second apex, Erwin Woodstra claims a top 5.
All right, he's earned my respect for sure. Can he hold off Jungbluth, though? He moves over to block a little bit there, entering on the straight. Fortunately, not in a braking zone. It's not going to make Jungbluth very happy, though. Jungbluth looking at every opportunity to try and get back.
Love we were on the 007 onboard, and we just saw a flash of that blue and white car zipping by as they changed lanes there. And now Woodstra starts to leave him in the dust, so the 21 sets his sights up ahead, but with only 11 minutes left and 14 seconds, not sure he'll climb much higher. Let's go back to Robbo. He's been overtaken by Taro. That's been a long, hard battle for the Finn, but he's finally taken the position away.
Yeah, but this is not done, trust me. These two guys are about equal on pace everywhere on the track, and so I expect to see those two battling all the way till the end of the race. But look at this, they're getting separated a little bit here.
That's going to be Fabian Gerber, who splits the two of them and now he's going to leave them be. Gerber has about a 7-second lead over Jimmy Broadbent, actually. Jimmy doing quite well today.
Actually, the lead in the GTOs might be just about to switch positions here. Joni Hagner and Ove Trangrade. Joni's actually able to cover him off, but as you mentioned, Jimmy Broadbent was very strong, has been very strong, like you said. Here's this battle for the lead in the GTOs, though. Joni able to hold off Ove Trangrade, but it's costing Ove time. Dennis Neidhart has been able to gain back up to about 5/10 behind them, so this is a three-way battle once again.
Oh, and
Woodstra's around.
Oh, no, and it's turn 5. Now, I don't think he caught the wall. Let's take a look at the replay.
He didn't catch the wall. It was just a little bit too much power on exit. There you see it. It's just, that's a really challenging spot to get right in the GTPs because it's so bouncy there.
And all that, it relies on that under tray downforce. You don't want it losing contact, of course, so he only fell back to 6th. Jungbluth gets the spot back, and Lupson isn't close enough to challenge him as he overtakes another of our Audis. That's Simon S's that he goes by. Going back to the top 3 in the GTOs. Just an update as we watch this fight on the championship situation. At this point, we can effectively say that Neidhart is your champion because Lake has DNF'd. And with more points than a win in the hands of Neidhart over Lake, that means that he doesn't even have to finish this race. Neidhart is now your champion.
Yep, that's right. So Neidhart.
That was Heikki Heitinen suddenly getting some screen time unintentionally.
And Heikki's had to take to the exit road off the course, so he's going to rejoin ahead of Jimmy Broadbent. This could be really sketchy. Ooh, boy, that was close.
Yeah, that's actually the pit entry for the outside pit lane that they don't often use here. Back to our leaders now. Hagner pulling a little bit of a gap now that they've been split by Gerber. Watch from Dennis's perspective here. Amazing how much these cars bounce around as they go over that outside exit curve.
And Joe, it's become very clear to me as this race has gone on, this is not one of Dennis's stronger tracks. He's doing a really good job, but he is struggling with a couple of the finer points around here, and I can't blame him. It's not one of my stronger tracks either, but Dennis Neidhart very in close with Ove Tranker. This is actually going to be a passing opportunity if he can gain a little bit more. Let's see whether Ove is going to defend this.
He's not defending yet, and Neidhart thought about it, but didn't look like quite a serious move as he comes back to the racing line. Also an update on the championship situation over in the prototypes with Mukanos also DNFing. Fabian Gerber is now also your champion regardless of where he finishes.
So 2 championships decided early before the finish of this race. Unfortunate for those drivers, our 2 second-place drivers in the points getting knocked out of this session. But man, this battle for the GTO lead is a cracker right now. Dennis Neidhart doing an excellent job of trying to navigate all of this GTP traffic. Ove Trangrade as well. But Joni Hagner has been so stout in that lead, and that's just the kind of Iceman driving I'd expect from a Glacier Racing driver.
Absolutely. They're going to be split by Pawlowski as they come through 6 and 7. He's not going to try and stick his nose down into that apex coming onto the backstretch. He sits and waits until here where they start to pick up speed and streams by Joni Hagner. I think they got another one. That's Heitinen, who we saw spinning earlier. Hopefully it'll stay a little more planted coming down into the braking. Oh, he's very slow though. Look at that. That was in the background. You saw that was Dennis Neidhart actually poking his nose out because he was starting to go faster than Heitinen. I think Heitinen rather. I think Heikki is suffering from some damage that's slowing him down on the backstretch.
Definitely. So he's got the acceleration, but what he doesn't have is the top speed. And these Audis actually can get pretty quick as Tobias Gerber snakes by Dennis Neidhart as well. But Heikki is starting to cause a little bit of a problem here for these leaders. This could be a real mess here as Tobias Gerber goes by as well, right in front of Ove Trangrade. That was almost contact. This is allowing Joni Hagner to snake away.
Yeah, that was a little sketchy there. Tobias Gerber just got by Trangrade in turn 3. As they come up over the hill, they've now got Freakton Kate, who's a lap down from those leaders, so no rush for him. Compromised line for Trangarade down into turn 6.
Yeah, so Trangarade very much under threat here. Dennis Neidhart, he got a little bit too greedy on the exit, but it doesn't mean that the battle is over. He's got a good draft on Ove Trangarade, but he's going to have to gain a lot more here. He looks like he might have an opportunity. He might look to the inside on this next turn. Let's see whether he has the confidence to do it.
Ove hasn't been defending. Each time he gets a run, he looks very good when he slows the car down, because I would have thought that Neidhart would be able to at least get side by side with him there. So Dennis still down in third and not able to climb any higher all race long.
Once again, that's just evidence to me that this is not Dennis's most familiar track. That is such a hard braking zone for these GTOs because it is a compression braking zone. So you see Michael Houghton trying to make his way by these two. It's a compression braking zone, which means you have a tendency to lock up the tires. If you lock up any of the tires of the GTO, you lock up all of them because of the four-wheel drive system, and that just sends you straight into the gravel trap at the end of that.
We have a battle happening back for 6th in the prototypes. Woodstra has been falling into the clutches of Nate Lupson now, so a reverse of what we saw before for the 21 car. It's just putting another lap on Sadro there, down in the GTOs.
Yeah, and this is all due to that spin. He just doesn't quite have the grip on those rear tires that he used to, just with a little bit of heat buildup. But Lupson not quite as strong through the twisting sections, but it's Woodstra who's struggling with traffic that's allowing Lupson to gain as he struggled with Reed Miller right there. Reed, very dangerous going through turn 5, got very, very loose on the exit there. But Lupson, if he gets a good exit onto this back straight, Woodstra's got to be careful.
See what they do between them. Ooh, great exit. Look at him just get smaller on our camera there as Woodstra. Great off the corner. Now the slipstream is helping Nate here, and he's going to get closer. Ooh, is he going to give a try? He'll have a shot if he wants it. He goes over to the left. He gets it down to the apex. Oh, they almost banged doors.
Yeah, Woodstra, something's wrong with his car. He's down on top end speed. The draft in the GTP is not that strong, so something is affecting his straight line speed, which is allowing Lupson to make inroads. They're coming up on Jake Johansson, 6th place at the GTOs. We haven't talked about him at all today, but a strong showing from Jake. And Lupson and Woodstra snake right by.
Irwin's got to be frustrated knowing that he could be faster than this. It's just this car needs to be pristine when it starts to get up to speed. He's trying to run away here, and he's going to be dealt the same thing all over again as long as Nate gets a good exit out of turn 7. He knows he's going to approach quickly on that yellow machine.
Yeah, so he's a lot more conservative on the brakes that time. This will give him a better exit, but Woodstra's exits are so good out of that corner. I think he's got a little bit more downforce into the car as well, which isn't helping the straight line speed difference. They're coming up on Angie Terho and Rob Olenek, who've been battling for quite a while. I don't think Lupson's close enough to make a move.
No, not this time. Not like we saw last time, for sure. He stays put. As far as Olenek and Terho, have we mentioned the fact that they fell off of the battle with Neidhart by miles at this point? Because they were right up with him before, remember?
Oh boy, here we go. 3 wide across the line. Nate Lupson trying to make the move on Woodstra. Oh man, that's close between Olenek and Woodstra. Nate Lupson's going to take advantage. 3 wide once again as they go through the corner. These two guys are going to be side by side at the top of the hill. Woodstra comes out ahead.
Once again, my admiration to that yellow number 21 defending around the outside of turn 3. Irwin is making him fight for it. Well, we got to go up to the GTOs, though, because Ove Trangarade is once again on the back of Hagner.
Dennis Neidhart has fallen back at these guys. He had a bad exit off of the final corner last lap, but here comes Trangarade down the inside of the corner. Yoni Hagner is going to have to do a power braking on the outside. He actually brakes a little bit early. Going to try to do the over-under on Trangarade. Trangarade, though, braking exactly when he needed to make the corner. He brakes in the center of the apex, making Yoni bump into his rear bumper, but Yoni not losing any speed. He's right on the back of Ove Trangarade as they come around the final corner and across the line. A little bit of slide from Yoni Hagner, but Ove Trangarade has taken first right now.
Wow, that is experience right there from those two drivers as we got a pass between Terho and Olenek, but Terho is going to keep him back. Rob not able to reclaim that 4th position.
This fighting in the GTOs is the best we've seen all season. These guys are going in at tooth and nail, and it's for the lead and for 4th position right now. The lead is between Ove Tranqueray and Joni Hagner, and 4th is Antti Terho and Rob Olenek.
This race has absolutely flown by because we just got the white flag. Haven't
What?
really been able to. Yes, we did. I just looked at the clock as we ride on board. That's actually our leader going by them right now. That's Fabian Gerber. We have less than a minute to go. So he is going to be getting the checkers this next time.
And the pass for the lead in the GTOs is happening once again. Ove Trangrade being very defensive down the inside of the corner. Joni Hagner is going to try and make it work on the outside this time. This is going to be a challenging one. He's actually going to brake early once again. Ove Trangrade is going to have that position. Is Joni going to fall prey to that braking in the center of the corner? No, he's not. He actually brakes as well. He's going to try and get a better shot off of the corner. Unable to do so. Here they come. White flag this time for these guys, and they're not going to get passed by Fabian Gerber on this lap, I don't believe.
No, because Fabian is just coming through the chicane right now. Checkered flag comes out for Fabian Gerber. Not only is he a champion once again, but he takes his 4th victory of the season here today at Road Atlanta. Back to our leaders. Oh, and that was Irwin going through.
Oh, boy.
Almost contact as Nate Lupson was in a chase, and he maybe tried to hustle through there just a little too much.
That might be the decider. That might be the decider here. Joni Hagner showing his displeasure there on Lupson, trying to block him from taking the apex away from him. Unable to do so, but Dennis Neidhart now in position for 2nd place. Look at that, Ove Trangrade away with quite a gap, but I don't think Dennis is going to be able to get to Joni Hagner. I think this is where they're going to finish, Joe. Let's see what happened.
Team has got to be coming out the ears of that Finn's helmet right now. He was so close to trying getting this lead back. Now Ove Trangrade with a gap of about 0.8 of a second. Unless he has a problem off this last corner, he should have this thing wrapped up. Ove Trangrade, when was the last time we saw him take a victory in this series? The Norwegian wins here today in Atlanta.
What a fantastic race from him. What a good battle with Joni as well. And Dennis just unable to do anything, but Joni is going to be a very unhappy man today.
First win of the season for Ove Trangrade, and he had to fight for it. Let's take a quick break here on the Global Sim Racing channel. We'll come back with the official results as well as driver interviews. Stick around because on screen you'll see all the upcoming races here on GSRC. Welcome back to Road Atlanta, the penultimate round here for the Kamel GT series. Well, we said it had a high bar. I'd say it met it. That was a wild fight for the lead in the GTOs. But before we get to that, let's talk about the finish for the prototypes. Fabian Gerber clinches the championship with win number 4 over Jimmy Broadbent, who finished in second. Started from 6th place. One of the drivers that definitely kind of creeped through as everybody around him fell away, but then had great pace today. He was only 7 seconds behind Fabian. That takes quite a bit to be that close to him. Tobias Gerber, the brother who started on pole, mysteriously let Fabian through to the lead. We're still not sure if that was intentional or if he just didn't have the braking that Fabian had, but still he got a podium. Michael Houghton took 4th over Fabian Jungbluth, who finished in 5th after starting 13th. He was done one better by Erwin Woodstra, who granted did not qualify, but started from 18th and from pit lane, finishing in 6th. We might actually get to talk to him, it looks like here. Nate Lupson was 7th with Kitty Ingstrom finishing 8th. He got involved in an incident, last one on the lead lap for the prototypes. Gabriel Lanini was 9th and Roman Pavlowski was 10th. Heikki Haitonen, with a bit of a rough day today, wound up 11th, and Freakton Kate was P12.
Ove Trangerade comes home with the win. A fantastic race from him, with Joni Hagner coming home in second, frustrated by some of the moves by the GTPs right at the end. Then Dennis Neidhart coming home in the 3rd position, just did not have anything for those top 2 guys. Antti Terho was able to best Rob Olenek for 4th and 5th, and then Jake Johansson comes home in 6th with Reed Miller in 7th. Daniel Sadra is going to come home in the 8th position, with Juan Espy coming home in 9th, and Simone S is coming home in 10th. Then we have some lap down GTPs, Martin Kraytrick, Steven Warkup, and Alex Millward, and then the rest are DNFs, Miguel Castro, Phil Lake, Alexis Tapiavico, Nick Bacanos, and Hugh Haycox.
So looks like we'll get to talk to our 2nd place finisher, one James Allen Broadbent joins us in the booth here. Jimmy, first of all, before we get to this race, congratulations on your win in your Indy 500 split, but congratulations on a podium here today. It looks like it wasn't easy for a lot of the prototype drivers.
I've got the full name treatment. I feel very special now. Thank you. Yeah, it was pretty crazy. It's Road Atlanta, It's Road Atlanta, and the speed difference is so vast between these cars through the really quick stuff that you have to sort of time it, which is the crazy bit. But it's a lot of fun. It's kind of part of the appeal of racing this for me, is that multi-class element, especially here.
Certainly seems like it, and you seem like you fare quite well. Now, we've seen you race here before in seasons past, but you started to show up quite a bit. What's brought you to the Kamel GT series quite regularly now?
Basically, I really enjoy driving this car. I did before, and it's really fun to drive in VR as well. So I thought, well, you know what, let's make something of it and get back involved again. Really, yeah. I used to drive a long time ago, but I don't know. I've just a renewed interest. I'm hoping it stays, because I always like drive anything with a turbo is good with me. So it's fun to.
Yeah, and this one certainly has a heck of a turbo in it. Next round, if you thought this one was hectic, I'm sure you've had a chance to drive the car over at Summit Point. Are you looking forward to that, or are you a bit nervous heading over there?
I look forward to it. There's not really nerves anymore. It's just the more scary and ridiculous situation, the more fun it is, I think. It's always like here, for example, you're coming around T1 and there are 4 or 5 hours on the exit of the apex. You think, oh, yeah, I'm going to have this now. And you, you just chuck it up the inside and try not to cause any havoc. And that's part of the fun. So the crazier, the better, I think.
That sounds like a Kamel driver to me. Well, before we let you go, is there anybody you'd like to thank?
I'd say just Nate, I think, who's Nate Lobson did the race with me. It's always fun to do it with somebody, because it's less of a kind of joining on your own. And a couple of guys, I forget their names, I'm really sorry, but when I first joined a session on my own at Detroit a couple of weeks ago, they were really nice, gave me some setups and encouraged me to do the races as well. So thanks for that. And yeah, you got a cool community here.
Awesome stuff. That was Jimmy Broadbent, 2nd place finisher here today on the podium. And on the podium as well, looks like we got 2nd place in the GTOs as Adam is caught up with Hagner.
Yeah, Yoni, fantastic race today. Great battling with Ove Trangerade. But talk me through those last couple of laps, because it seemed like traffic was a little bit of an issue for you.
Yeah, on the last lap, I was setting pass for the final chicane, and I didn't want to lead on the final lap, so I was like lifting on the straight on the second last lap, and It was mistake today because someone tried to pass me on the turn 5 inside, and it didn't work.
Yeah, well, unfortunately, that happens every once in a while, but you were really strong and stout at the front, keeping up a triangle tucked in behind you most of the race. How tough was it with the traffic today? And it seemed like the track conditions were changing quite a bit as well.
Yeah, the traffic was really good today, but I noticed that I have not driven this car in a while, so my tires were a bit poor in the end, but nothing major.
Yeah, and speaking of that, it was awesome to see you guys battling side by side. Is this a track that you usually like, or is it one of the ones that is a struggle for you out here?
This is one of my top 5 tracks. I really enjoy this track.
Well, we also next week head over to Summit Point, which is similar but different. And what are your thoughts on that one going into it?
It's a really great GTO track and a really poor multi-class track.
Well, that should make for some good action. Yoni, is there anyone you want to thank before we let you go today?
I want to thank my new buddies. They one did his first Kamel race today in the second sprint, so I think he finished it.
All right. Well, Yoni, thanks for joining us, and we look forward to seeing you next week.
Probably. I don't know. I have Finnish Championship qualifier, so I'm not sure, but I try.
Well, good luck in that regardless, and we look forward to seeing you when we see you next. That was Yoni Hagner, our second place finisher in the GTOs, and next up we have our winner in the GTPs, Fabian Gerber with Joe Peak.
Yep, not just our winner here today, but our champion this season, Fabian. Congratulations on another one. But it looks like you had to take that lead away. Your brother was fast today. Were you as surprised as we were that he got the pole away from you?
No, I wasn't surprised. He was already that fast yesterday, and in practice this afternoon he was actually faster than me. So I expected him to be fast. I was hoping I could get the pole, but I made a mistake in the second lap. So I got third place, but it was actually good because I could overtake Nick in the first lap. So that was good for me actually.
So then I take it that was a legitimate pass on him there, or did he let you by? Because we were a bit confused that you managed to go around the outside of him that early in the race.
No, he actually defended. So I expected him. We actually talked about the situation, and I told him to race the race like he want to win. Just be careful in a situation. But we only talked about the situation when Nick would be first place and I'd be third and he second. Then he would have let me pass. But that was the only situation we were talking about.
Unfortunately, Nick DNF'd today a little bit early, so it wound up being anticlimactic at the end. Even still, I have to imagine, how does it feel to claim another one, especially considering how the season started? You came back from a big hole.
Exactly, yes. It was actually a very tough beginning of the season. I had a hardware failure at Mosport. I got a heavy neck code at Watkins Glen. I got taken out at Sebring and Charlotte, etc. It was really tough, but second half of the season was great, and I managed to get some wins in and get the points back, and I'm actually very proud of that one, and especially because it's already not at the end of the season. I could get the championship. I think that is the first time. I'm not sure, and yeah, I'm really happy about it.
I can imagine, especially with a race to spare. Well, that was Fabian Gerber, our winner and new champion here today. But it sounds like Adam has caught up with our fourth place finisher in the prototypes, Michael Houghton. The Texan joins us again.
Hey, boys.
Yeah, Michael, you had a very interesting race because it seemed like you more than most of the GTPs were dealing with a lot of Audi traffic at your apexes. How did you handle it today?
It was a mixed bag, to tell you the truth. After I got into that incident with the two Nissans in front of me, I had a deficit on the top speed, and from then on, it was just trying to manage the car all the way home.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. And how bad was that deficit on the top speed for you? And how did you compensate for it over the course of the race?
It was probably about 4 to 5 tenths off my usual pace, so I would have kept up with the top three. I just had to make it back up in traffic. I remember Krecherek behind me trying to catch up, and just trying to make up in traffic and trying to take some risks here and there. Nothing too crazy, and we managed to get a top 5, so I'm not too displeased with that.
Well, Michael, before we let you go, is there anyone else you want to thank today?
You guys, thank you for everything that you guys do. You guys are awesome. Thank you so much. Yeehaw!
All right, that was Michael Houghton, who finished in 4th. Driver a little bit farther down that usually we wouldn't talk to positions like this, but 6th place for Erwin Rotkrins is impressive considering a lack of qualifying. Erwin, I have to admit, you caught our attention this race, not just for coming through the field, but you were challenging guys like Fabian Jungbluth, who are longtime runners in this series. Have you run this car a lot? Are you experienced here?
No, not at all. I had about 20 minutes of practice before this. Grabbed the setups from the forums, which I'm very happy about that the guys do that. The lack of qualifying was because I decided I want quali. I'm going to put on the race set and I'm going to practice in quali on the race set just to feel everything more out. Then I went on the grid and I realized I had too little fuel in the car, which made me miss the grid. Yeah.
Well, that explains that as well. That makes it all the more impressive, just the lack of practice and the fact that you were set back from that. So seeing all that and seeing how you were able to perform, does this mean we'll see you back at Summit Point?
Probably. I enjoyed this car a lot at the moment because it's still on the old time model. I don't like the cars on the new time model. But I'll think I'll try and be there, and maybe with a little bit more practice and a little bit more traffic practice. Yeah.
I was about to say, hopefully you do some more practice because that is going to be very, very frantic if you've never seen a race there with these cars. Well, thank you for coming and talk to us and explaining a little bit of what happened there. Is there anybody you want to thank for the top 10 you managed today?
Well, I want to thank the guy who put the setup on the forums. The guys who do that, amazing. Setups do feel really good for what they are, and they're free, and yeah. I want to also thank my sponsors from the team, Prototye, SimCharge, and yeah, that's it.
Erwin Rootstra there taking a 6-spin, almost a top 5 if it weren't for a spin that he had a little bit today. Let's close out for the Kamel GT series. A big thanks to them for bringing us back for another season of coverage. And I have to second that thought about thanks to all those who share those setups and help bring people in, bring newcomers in. It shows you it does something out here because Erwin, I don't think would have had the run today he had without that. Also, thanks to the companies that provide the software and the hardware for our broadcasts. They're listed here on your screen. Additional thanks go to June Lalonde, who provides our wonderful music. See the screen for how to get hold of more of her great work. And I also found out recently that she has added her work to Spotify now, if you want to go and listen to her there. Thanks to the team today, Adam, Sean, and Doug. If you'd like to find out more about GSRC, including upcoming races, you can find it at globalsimracingchannel.com, where you can check out our social media on Twitter at GSR Channel, Facebook at Global Sim Racing Channel, and Instagram at GSRC_Graham. If you'd like to support us, check out our merchandise at gsrc.storenvy.com. We got a link in the description below if you don't want to type that out. As we mentioned, the finale going to take place at one of the wildest tracks they come to for this series, Summit Point, Saturday, May 30th at 1 p.m. Eastern. They have upcoming races for other series listed on the screen, so check those out and mark them down on your calendar. But until next time, race clean, race hard. We'll see you on the track.